Lucille Ball built a career on laughter, charm, and unforgettable comedy. People around the world adored her, and to many, she seemed like a woman who lived a simple, happy life. But behind the bright red hair and the sparkling smile lived a woman who fought through emotional storms, private heartbreaks, and hidden relationships she never wanted the world to know. For decades, rumors followed her, a whisper here, a secret there, but she stayed silent as if protecting parts of her soul from judgment. Only near the end of her life did she quietly admit the truth about 6 actors she was romantically involved with. And her confessions shocked even those closest to her. Her journey began long before I Love Lucy changed television forever. As a young actress struggling to survive in Hollywood, Lucille faced a world where powerful men controlled opportunities, and fame depended on choices no one ever warned her about. Loneliness, pressure, and insecurity pushed her into relationships that were never meant to become public stories. She learned quickly that Hollywood had a glittering surface, but a cold heart beneath it. Lucille's marriage to Desi Arnaz looked perfect on screen, but in real life, it was a storm of passion, betrayal, and explosive arguments. Both of them strayed, both of them broke promises, and both carried secrets they hid even from close friends. Through all this, Lucille tried to keep her private life separate from her career, knowing that audiences loved her for her humor, not her mistakes. What she finally revealed later in life surprised even her longtime fans. She said she once had deep emotional connections and romantic moments with 6 actors who shaped her youth, her confidence, and her understanding of love. Some were gentle, others complicated, and 1 or 2 left scars she never fully healed from. These affairs were not about scandal to her. They were chapters of her life that shaped the woman she became. Each man brought something different: passion, support, danger, or comfort. And each affair existed in the shadows, never meant to be spoken about. But secrets rarely stay buried forever. As Lucille looked back on her past, she understood that hiding the truth no longer protected her, it only weighed her down. Her decision to finally speak about these 6 actors opened a door into the emotional world behind the laughter, revealing a woman far more complex than the simple smiling comedian millions believed they knew. Lucille Ball often said that her early years in Hollywood were the hardest. She was young, insecure, and constantly unsure if she truly belonged. During this time, she met the first actor who would quietly become part of her private story. He was older, confident, and already respected in the industry. While the world knew him as a strong leading man, Lucille knew him as someone who saw her potential when she barely saw it herself. She described him as the first man who made her feel truly noticed. He encouraged her to work harder, to learn discipline, and to fight for every opportunity. At a time when she was receiving small roles and standing at the edge of the studio system, he gave her the hope she desperately needed. Their connection began with simple conversations, late-night rehearsals, and long walks around the studio lot where they talked about dreams that seemed impossible. Slowly, those conversations turned into something deeper. Lucille said he treated her gently, almost protectively, and for a while she believed he might be the one she could build a future with. But he was already involved with someone else, a painful truth she tried to ignore. Hollywood relationships often lived in the shadows, and Lucille quickly learned that love there came with rules, expectations, and sacrifices. She never wanted to be the woman who broke another heart, yet she stayed because she felt seen for the first time. Their affair lasted months, filled with quiet meetings and stolen moments. It was not glamorous. It was fragile, emotional, and complicated. Eventually, she realized she could not remain in a love that belonged to someone else. Her rising career also demanded strength, independence, and a reputation she could trust. Ending the relationship broke her heart more deeply than she admitted, but it taught her something she carried throughout life. Success and love rarely grow together in Hollywood. The first actor shaped her sense of worth, giving her confidence when she had none. Even years later, she spoke of him with a mix of warmth and sadness. Their story remained a secret to the world, but to Lucille, It was the beginning of understanding how powerful and painful love could be. It was the first door she opened, and the first one she forced herself to close, even when her heart tried to hold on. After her first secret relationship ended, Lucille Ball promised herself she would focus only on her career. She wanted stability, discipline, and a future built on hard work, not fragile emotions. But Hollywood had a way of placing unexpected people in her path, and the second actor who entered her life was impossible to ignore. He was charming, reckless, magnetic, and far too unpredictable. Everyone on set loved him, but almost no one trusted him. Lucille was drawn to him instantly, even though she sensed he would bring trouble. Where the first man was gentle and steady, this second actor was wild and unpredictable. He made her laugh at times when she felt she had nothing to smile about. He took her on late-night adventures, introduced her to people who lived life on the edge, and pushed her to break the rules she had carefully built for herself. Their chemistry was intense, fast, fiery, and impossible to hide, even though they tried. To Lucille, he felt like freedom. To him, she was excitement and softness in a world that often felt sharp. But there was another side to him that Lucille discovered too late. Behind the charm lived a man who struggled with anger, insecurities, and a restless spirit. One moment he would give her the attention of someone deeply in love, and the next moment he would disappear without explanation. Lucille found herself waiting for him, defending him, believing he would change. But Hollywood actors rarely change for anyone, and this man was no exception. Their affair became a cycle of passion and heartbreak. Some nights were unforgettable, full of laughter, connection, and emotional fire. Other nights were filled with arguments, unexpected absences, and silent tears Lucille hid behind closed doors. She never spoke publicly about the pain he caused, but later in life she admitted that this relationship left marks she carried for years. In time, Lucille realized she could not survive in a love that felt like a storm. Her career was finally beginning to rise, and she knew that staying with someone who lived recklessly would destroy everything she had worked for. Leaving him was difficult, but necessary. She said he taught her the difference between passion and peace, and that not all intense love is healthy. Though their relationship burned quickly and ended painfully, it revealed the strength inside her. She learned she deserved more than chaos. She deserved stability, honesty, and someone who valued her heart as much as her talent. After two emotional experiences that changed her deeply, Lucille Ball entered a phase in life where she longed for calm, understanding, and steady support. Hollywood could be cruel, full of rumors, competition, and pressure that drained her spirit. She was rising in her career, but inside she often felt lonely. That was when she met the third actor, a man who offered the one thing she had been craving for years: peace. He was not the most famous star in the industry, but he was respected. Soft-spoken, thoughtful, and patient, he had a personality that felt like a warm blanket on a cold night. Lucille said he listened in a way no one else ever did. Instead of judging her for her mistakes or asking her for something in return, he simply cared. Their bond grew slowly, built not on passion or chaos, but on genuine connection. For the first time in a long while, Lucille felt safe. They spent long afternoons talking about life outside Hollywood. Family, childhood memories, dreams they kept hidden, and the fear of failure that haunted them both. He encouraged her to slow down, breathe, and appreciate moments of silence. She often visited him when she felt overwhelmed, and he would calm her with simple words or a gentle smile. It was a relationship that felt almost too pure for the world they lived in, but their connection came with its own complications. He was already tied to commitments he couldn't break, not because he didn't care, but because he feared hurting people who depended on him. Lucille understood, yet her feelings grew deeper than she expected. She wished for a future where they could be together openly, but he could not offer that life. It wasn't betrayal that ended them, it was life's limitations, the kind neither of them could control. Even after their romantic connection faded, Lucille admitted she never forgot him. She described him as the quiet force that kept her from falling apart during one of the hardest periods of her life. He made her feel valued not as a star, not as a comedian, but as a woman who deserved compassion. Unlike the first two actors, he left no scars, only gratitude. Lucille later said that if Hollywood had been a different world, he might have been the man she chose. But life rarely matches the heart's desires. Their relationship ended softly, without drama, but its memory stayed with her forever. A gentle reminder that even in the darkest moments, someone cared enough to keep her going. As Lucille Ball's fame grew, her personal life became even more complicated. She was now a recognized actress, a rising star, and a woman constantly watched by the public. With success came pressure, and with pressure came moments of weakness. It was during this period that two more actors entered her life, men who would challenge her emotionally in ways she never expected. These two affairs were different from the earlier ones. They taught her painful, unforgettable lessons about loyalty, temptation, and the price of trusting the wrong people. The fourth actor was someone Lucille admired professionally. He had a reputation for being intelligent, charming, and highly skilled at winning over anyone he wanted. On set, he made Lucille feel brilliant, as if her ideas mattered more than anyone else. They bonded through humor, inside jokes, and shared frustrations about Hollywood's harshness. But beneath his polished personality lived a habit of manipulation. Lucille discovered quickly that he enjoyed collecting hearts, not protecting them. He chased her with flattering words and then pulled away whenever she became emotionally invested. Their affair felt like standing on uncertain ground, exciting one moment, collapsing the next. Lucille ended things when she realized he saw her as another victory, not a partner. This heartbreak hardened her in ways she tried to hide. Then came the fifth actor, a man who was kind but deeply troubled. He entered her life during a time when she desperately wanted to believe in someone. He was vulnerable, open about his fears, and grateful for Lucille's warmth. She tried to help him, hoping she could be the light he needed, but their relationship quickly became heavy. His emotional struggles drained her energy, leaving her exhausted and unsure of how to save both him and herself. Lucille later said she stayed longer than she should have, because she felt responsible for his well-being. Eventually, she understood she could not fix a person who was unwilling to fix himself. Leaving him was painful, but she knew staying would destroy everything she had worked for. These two affairs taught Lucille the importance of protecting her heart. She realized that not every connection deserved her loyalty, and not every man who needed her deserved her sacrifice. They were chapters filled with confusion, guilt, and emotional exhaustion, but they also made her stronger. By the time these relationships ended, Lucille had grown into a woman who understood her worth, even if she didn't always show it. The sixth and final actor Lucille Ball spoke about was the one she described with the most complicated emotions. He was neither the wildest nor the kindest, neither the most famous nor the least, but he was the one who changed the entire direction of her life. This man appeared during a moment when Lucille was torn between ambition and fear, hope and heartbreak. She was tired of temporary affection, exhausted by secrets, and afraid she would never find a love she could trust. Yet this actor walked into her life with a confidence that disarmed her and a charm she couldn't ignore. He treated her differently from the others. With him, it wasn't about stolen moments or quiet places where no one could see. He made her feel admired, valued, and deeply desired. Their chemistry was undeniable, powerful, and immediate. Lucille later admitted that for a short time she believed he could be the man who would anchor her unstable world. But this relationship came with a dangerous truth. He wanted her, but not the responsibility of loving her. He was ambitious, always chasing scripts, roles, and opportunities. Hollywood wasn't just a job for him, it was his obsession. He hid his insecurities behind confidence and his selfishness behind passion. Lucille found herself falling into old patterns, waiting for him, hoping he would choose her, believing he would change, but he was too focused on his own fame to see what she truly needed. Their affair ended abruptly when she discovered he had been involved with another woman. It wasn't the first time she had experienced betrayal in love, but this one felt like the final crack in her patience. Years later, Lucille spoke about him with a mixture of regret and clarity. He was the last reminder of a life she no longer wanted. Hidden love, silent heartbreak, and secrets that weighed her down. It was this relationship that pushed her to demand something real, something lasting. Soon after, she found herself drawn to Desi Arnaz, the man who would become her husband, and the partner who changed her destiny, even if their marriage was far from perfect. When Lucille finally revealed the truth about these 6 actors, she wasn't seeking sympathy or creating scandal. She was speaking as a woman who had lived, loved, made mistakes, and learned from them. Her affairs were not stories of shame. They were stories of survival. They shaped her strength, sharpened her wisdom, and taught her to fight for the love she deserved. Behind the iconic laughter of Lucille Ball lived a woman who walked through fire, healed herself, and still found the courage to shine.